Now, is it Bachman or Bachman, Randy? Come on. Tell us the truth.
You're correct. You're correct. It's both.
It's both. So you don't care if people have been saying Bachman Turner Overdrive or Bachman Turner Overdrive. It doesn't matter to you.
Here's how I say it. Hello, I'm Randy Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive.
It's Favazz, and we have the man back on KSHE. Welcome back to KSHE in St. Louis, Randy.
Wow. Do you know how special KSHE is in my life?
Yes, I do, and we're going to get to that shortly. First of all, I want to, you're still going out on tour. You're going to be on tour with Heart later in the year, correct?
Yes. We used to play together in the 70s when BTO had our hit and Heart was just starting. And the Rock and Roll Sisters, and they are iconic. They are fabulous.
Yes, they are.
We're going to tour, and BTO's on the bill with them. We're playing. We're going to play Winnipeg, which is a great homecoming for us. In November, and so we're doing a couple of dates with Heart, and maybe more next year. So it's really great. I'm glad they're back, and I am back as BTO, and it's going to be great.
And the other thing that is prominent in your life is the auction that's going on, and you're going to have over 200 guitars, and they're going to be some of them that will be auctioned off was the one that you wrote American Woman on, Let It Ride, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Why the hell are you doing that?
Well, I ended up my dream came true because I've always wanted to have a house in London. I always wanted to have a house in LA. I had one in Santa Monica. And so you get tired of staying in hotels. And I found out that Chuck Berry did this, and Little Richard, and a lot of other guys. You end up having a house outside of New York, a house outside of London. You got to go there for a month and tour. You can go home every night. And on your days off, you're at home relaxing rather than in a hotel.
True.
So I had these 4 different residences all over the world, and I couldn't go there in the last 4 years because of COVID. Couldn't travel. So you're stuck at home, and your stuff is all over the world, so you have it shipped to you. You can still ship stuff, but you can't go anywhere. So I ended up where I live now, in Victoria, BC, Canada. I ended up with like 5 toasters, 5 lawnmowers, hundreds of guitars. So I have nowhere to put them, but the only way I can see them is have them shipped here. And I have so many guitars. If I played like 10 a day, I couldn't play them all in a year. And there's nowhere to put them. So you end up renting a space, and you're paying money to store the stuff in that you can't see anymore. And these guitars are so iconic. I learned to play on them. I wrote all of the BTO and Guess Who songs on them.
Right.
Then I played them on the record. And so some of these guitars, you get my white Fender Strat. It's playing on Let It Ride. It's the beginning of Let It Ride, and You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. My 59 Les Paul, which is the top guitar being auctioned, is the solo of American Woman and No Time, and it's a solo in Let It Ride. Both bands, the guitars are kind of a blur. They played in both. So one guitar is playing rhythm for a certain sound, and then I use a different guitar to play lead, so it doesn't sound like the same guitar. It stands out. You hear American Woman.
Wow.
It starts out with my Gretsch playing it, and a Fender starting that dun, dun. And when the solo comes in, it's my 59 Les Paul. It just sits on top of the top. It's a different tone, so the frequency is like lifted above, because in those days there was no foot pedals. You didn't have a whole bunch of foot pedals or pedal board.
Yeah.
You had a chord and 3 guitars and 1 amp. So you just change your amp, and you recorded that way. So that's why I had so many guitars. That's the excuse I always gave my wife. And when she would say, "How many guitars do you have?" I'd say, "How many pair of shoes do you have in the closet?"
Yeah,
They
exactly. Exactly.
They don't know how many guitars I've got.
It's going to happen May 29th and 30th, the auction, and juliansauction.com is the website. So, Mr. Bachman, you're, according to Mark Close, who has been on and off here for 1,000 years, he said, and I looked it up, that in Bachman Turner Overdrive, KSHE is mentioned. Correct?
KSHE broke
in Wikipedia?
BTO.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Well, our first album came out. We were getting no airplay. We got a call from a guy named Scott Shannon. He worked at KSHE.
Yeah.
And he said, "I got your album. It's really good. It's the beginning of a new era. We're calling it hard rock. It's like pop music with heavier guitars. There was no such thing as classic rock then. It wasn't classic. It was brand new." And he said, "We're doing a show in a drive-in movie theater." Mm-hmm. And you remember growing up, drive-ins were great. You pull up in a car with a bunch of guys. You had a pizza. You had a case of beer. You watched movies.
You're right.
And it was great. it was really fun. It was like Happy Days. And he said, we're doing a thing. We're playing rock and roll movies when it gets dark. We're having a stage in front of the screen, and so-and-so is supposed to come, but they can't come because somebody's sick in the band. If you will come with Bachman Turner Overdrive with BTO and play, I will guarantee that your first album, you've got 8 songs. Everybody in St. Louis will know every single song. We'll play one in every 3 hours. And it was like 3 weeks away. I said, okay, great, we'll come. So we drive all the way there. We go to the stage. We set up. It's like 2 in the afternoon. We set up. We play our 8 songs, and everybody in the audience knows every song.
Wow.
And last time I saw him, he was in New York. I said, man, you've made BTO. So from then on, we would go and play St. Louis all the time. And then that switched to New Orleans. And then we played with ZZ Top, who were also on that show, and Peter Frampton and the Doobie Brothers. So we met these guys who were all starting then. ZZ Top only had LaGrange. We had Blue Collar and then Let It Ride. You know what I mean? Doobie Brothers listened to the music. So we're all on our first single. We used to then go to a town, and whoever had the airplay on the radio at the time would close the show, and the other guys would open the show. So I became great friends with them. Now I'm touring with the Doobies again, and the Wilson sisters.
Wow.
Doing gigs with Billy Gibbons and ZZ Top. So we're all back after the COVID shutdown, and it's really great.
We're talking to Randy Bachman here on KSHE, and John Hewlett, who has also been here for 1,000 years, said that you produced the Trooper record that had Raise a Little Hell on it. Am I correct?
I did. Bruce Allen's partner in Winnipeg, when Bruce Allen left his booking agency and became BTO's manager, then he managed Bryan Adams, he managed Michael Bublé, Anne Murray, Loverboy, all that stuff. Partner Sam Feldman took over and started to manage everybody. And when I got home from BTO, he said, I've got a band I want you to help out. You can do it while you're at home. And I'd hit number 1 with BTO with You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, Not Fragile. I'd also hit number 1 with the Guess Who with American Woman. So I'm getting offers to produce different bands. Bands from Australia, Chambers Brothers in L.A. to produce these guys. And I said, I can't do it. I've got kids and a wife at home and I never see them. So Sam Feldman said, look, I got a band that's in Vancouver, and they're called Applejack. And we got to change their name because there's a band called Applejack. So we changed their name to Trooper. I started to produce them because they used to they played a block from my house. So I put my kids to bed at 7 or 8 o'clock, read them a story, go over to the club where Trooper was playing, and help them with their original material. And out of that, they wrote some really great, and I taught them how to write their songs. So they wrote We're Here for a Good Time, Boys in the Bright White Sports Car, and then the classic rock, Raise a Little Hell. And so I'm playing guitar on that with Trooper, and I produced it and helped mentor them, and they just got inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. And I've known them my whole life, and that was from 1973, 74. So yeah, I did produce 5 Trooper albums.
Wow, that's amazing. Raise a Little Hell. Somebody said that they thought they were saying, "Pray for little Al, pray for little Al, pray for little Al."
Wonderful.
That was just one person.
How about this? John Fogerty singing, "There's a bathroom on the right."
Yes.
There's something there's a bad moon on the rise. People have said to me, "What do you mean taking care of business? Taking care of business? What?
TCBing, man.
Taking care of business." Then it sounds like you're singing baking carrots, biscuits, like carrot cake. You're baking carrot biscuits. I said, you're insane. It's taking care of business. Those are called, what are they called? There's a weird name for that.
I don't know. I don't know.
They used to think Boys of Summer, the Eagles song, Boys of Summer. I thought it was Poison Summer. So I'm hearing this song.
Don Henley.
What a stupid title. After the Poison Summer, what is a Poison Summer? And then I realized it's Boys of Summer. It's just something you hear.
Wow.
You hear wrongly, improperly.
Bachman Turner Overdrive, obviously, but the Guess Who? People forget sometimes because it's been a while that you founded the Guess Who. And do you mind that they go out on tour and the singer goes out on tour and all that stuff?
Well, Burton Cummings and I are both against that because we were the Guess Who. It's kind of like who is Aerosmith? It's Steven Tyler and Joe Perry.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the front guys. The front guy that people recognize, and you're playing the lead guitar solo, and the guy's singing it, so you are the adopted or accepted frontman.
Close enough.
Bert and I, for the Guess Who, we wrote the songs. Every song has a guitar intro that you recognize that that's me, or a piano like These Eyes, and Burton's voice. And so guys out there playing, saying they're us is a lot different than a tribute band where you're a tribute and you're playing, Creedence Clearwater songs or something like that. It's just unfair to the fans. It's false advertising, and people show up wanting to. And because of COVID, this happened. People start to contact us personally. I have a website, randybachman.com or BTO. Burton Cummings has one. So all the fans start sending us messages to YouTube and stuff and to our website and Instagram and all these TikTok and stuff saying, we drove 600 miles to see you guys. We didn't recognize anybody on stage. You don't even sound like yourself. Where are you? And they're sending us videos they're taking of guys on stage saying they are us. And so Burton said he wanted to put us to it.
So wow. But Guess Who had so many great songs, and you were right there, man. I mean, in many ways, they were better than BTO, I think.
Well, that's debatable.
I knew that the band that had your name would be your favorite band.
Well, here's the thing. I was with the Guess Who from 62-ish till 70.
Right.
And so I was there for Shakin' All Over. I played the guitar in Shakin' All Over, which I just saw in a new movie on Netflix. They play Shakin' All Over twice in the new movie. And I left in 1970 after American Woman. Then I started BTO with my brothers, the Bachman brothers, and Fred Turner.
Mm-hmm.
We were called Bachman Turner. We got the name Overdrive from the Truckers magazine. But I sold more records with BTO in 4.5 years than I did with 7 years with the Guess Who. I hit number one, woman single again, like I did with American Woman, with the Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, and the Not Fragile album. And so I think both bands were equal. Mm-hmm. One was kind of a pop band fringing on rock, and BTO was a rock band fringing on heavy rock. So it was an evolutionary thing. And it's like when you start a business, it goes really good. What do? You franchise. So I franchised. I left the Guess Who. I started another thing. And Burton Cummings, with me and alone, and me with him and alone, we have created, Canadian music.
Wow.
Because when I was with him, we did certain songs. Then I left. He kept writing the songs. He had other guys in the band. I started another band, and we went along parallel to each other. Even right now, we're parallel to each other. We're looking forward to I played with Burton for the last couple of years. He called me saying, hey, I'm playing so-and-so. Do you want to come on stage? I walk on stage. I join him in his band. We play together all the time. And I'm going to Toronto this week to see Neil Young on Monday. And we've known each other since we were like 15 years of age in Winnipeg. So when you grow up with a guy, you kind of have this connection for your whole life.
You do.
You email each other all the time and talk to each other all the time. Hey, I'm in town. Do you want to have dinner? You want to come and jam? I got a new guitar. Do you want to go see it and all that stuff? So life is good.
So once again, Randy Bachman will be on tour with Hart and the Dewey Brothers, and Julian'sAuctions.com is the place if you want to make a bid on any of the guitars. And Randy, we at KSHE, and I've been at KSHE for a long time, we will never forget your contributions to this radio station, whether it be with the Guess Who or BTO or whatever. You or BTO even opened up for Van Halen here in St. Louis. Am I correct?
We did. That was a fantastic tour. We did 11 months with Van Halen.
Wow.
Sammy had just joined the band, and he called me up and he said, hey, I'm opening up with Van Halen. I want you to do the tour. I don't want anybody yelling, where's Dave, when we come on stage. So we come out and play 30 minutes of hits, plays like 7 hit songs back to back, and then we're going to come on in 5 minutes, and we're going to open with, Why Can't This Be Love or something like that. And we called that tour Why Can't This Be Lunch and Taking Care of Breakfast.
Ba-boom. All right. So, Randy, thank you very much. And we'll hopefully see you in the fall. Maybe, I know Hart is coming.
Let me tell everybody there, if you can't bid on a guitar, just watch Julian Auctions online. You'll see all the guitars one at a time and who's buying them. I'm curious. I'm going to be watching it as well. How does it happen? How does it go on?
Okay. So, Randy, thank you, and good luck, and we'll see you down the road.
You bet. Thank you. See you soon.